Hey guys, Gabe LTB or BigManComics.com. Sorry I'm a little bit late today. I was handling something in the kitchen. But that's right. The kitchen isn't just for women. It's also where men go when they want to eat or drink something that the women have prepared for them. How is everyone doing today on this fantastic Tuesday morning? It's just me today. I don't have my beautiful co-host, but you know how it is. Antonius is here. Ungoy Boy is here. Guys, hit the like, hit the share. Everybody come in. Welcome in. We're gonna have a good time, guys. I'm just starting this page. I'm switching projects because I don't want to show you what I have been working on all day, because that's a secret freelance project. I'm actually, I didn't think I would freelance really much at all ever again, and then I I got an offer I couldn't refuse from somebody. Really cool project. Someone that had been dying to hire me for ages. So I said yes, but it doesn't interfere with Comic-Con, which I almost interfered with completely. I messed up. Something went wrong. I made a mistake. The website glitched. Something happened, and I didn't. It's resolved now, just so you don't get worried about it. But I didn't have my parking for Comic-Con. Now, as you know, the San Diego Comic-Con is I use Procreate. Horrible one. You're asking what program I use. I use Procreate. It's on the iPad. The iPad is right here in my hands. There's the pencil, and I use Procreate. Let's see. Comic-Con San Diego, the biggest and most important convention in the world for comics. You can have your parking there. I'm an exhibitor. I have a booth. I have a big old booth. You come over, you buy comics, you get autographs, you do things. It's fun. I have cool guests. I'm there myself, of course. It's a good time. T-shirt, comic books, merchandise. But to bring all that stuff up and to carry it in, you need parking, right? I don't want to park far away and lug stuff across the whole downtown of San Diego. So you park in the convention center building. Now, when you're an exhibitor, they offer you that way before anyone else can get parking. But you have to register your email addresses, blah, 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 by a certain date. I've been doing this for years. I'm an old pro. I've had a presence at Comic-Con since, I believe, 2008. Sometimes I think it was 2007, but I think it was 2008. Either way, I registered my email addresses on the last day you were supposed to do it. I don't know if I missed the cutoff by a few hours or if I got it just under the wire, but whatever happened, I did not get sent the email to register my parking. And I got a booth and I got all kinds of stuff going on. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? So the staff at Ace Parking and Comic-Con were just so amazingly helpful. They answered my emails within, minutes of me sending an email, telling them the situation. And long story short, I was able to get the parking at the Comic-Con, the actual convention center building itself today, which is a huge deal, because if you don't have that, you're going to be in big trouble if you're trying to move around all kinds of big, heavy things and, have your... it would just suck to not have that. It would really, really put a damper on things. It would make things very difficult, bringing all your merchandise and all your stuff and your booth display and all these giant... I mean, I have a thing that's, like 8 or 9 feet long that I have to carry. It's the big banner stuff and all that, and you don't want to carry that across downtown. So, the horror one said, is Derek June going to be there? By that, I think you mean Eric July. I don't think so, because there's a Bell City Comic-Con in Bellevue or Bell something, Texas. And I think he's going to that like a week or two after the San Diego show. So I don't think he stacks him up that close. I know I invited him last year, and that was a reason he couldn't go, I guess. Because I had him at my booth 2 years ago. And I told him if he wanted to come again, he was welcome to come to my booth and autograph and all that. But he had to politely decline, again, because I think they just have all those launches going, and because he has another show he's doing right away in Texas. So, I don't take it personal. I know that, he's got to do what he got to do. And that's that. It's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs, everyone. What about a fellowship of regular balls? Bolas regulario. Now, bolas I know is balls in Espanol. Regulario doesn't sound like a word to me. Sounds like I made that up. But, who the hell can really say? So, yeah, I'm just starting this page of Tyrus because I'm actually working on something else today. But I don't want you to see it because it's a secret project. But it's really cool. And, but, I have 100. I have 24 pages of the Unsolvable Tyrus left to do. And then the 125-page graphic novel is finito after that. So that's really nice. That's very nice. We've been working hard. I think I started drawing it right before Christmas, so that's pretty good. Eric's undertaking in breaking into the comics is inspirational. Your story is too. You said it was one of your dreams. Yeah, when I was a little boy, I saw X-Men #1, the relaunch in 1991 or 92, illustrated by Jim Lee, and I wanted to be Jim Lee's friend and work for him and blah, blah, blah. And I was 92. I was 13, depending on when I saw. I was 13. Long story short, in my late 20s, Jim Lee, the artist I saw when I was 13, he hired me. So if you work really hard, you can achieve exactly what you wanted to achieve. He hired me, and I worked at DC Comics for a while, and then they became too disgustingly woke, and I walked away from that job, and I now do this independently, and you guys get to look at the top of my head while I draw. I know that's not great TV to look at. I should write something here. I should sell ad space right here. If anyone wants to advertise right here, I'll put it on the hat, and then I can make a few bucks while I'm drawing here. So let's think about that. And while you're thinking about that, think about this. It is not comfortable to draw and do this show at the same time standing. I don't have my lovely assistant today. When I have my assistant, I'm usually sitting. I'm sitting and working, and the assistant comes into the office, sets up the camera, does everything for me, talks to you guys in the chat. Now I have to do it myself today. What is the world coming to? But yeah, so now I'm standing at my computer instead of sitting in my drawing chair like I usually do when I do this stuff. But guys, we'll get through it. I don't like to throw around the word hero, but I'm really going above and beyond for you guys today. But I was debating not doing this. It's like, come on, Gabe. You're going to do social media, do it. You got to be consistent. That's the hardest part of anything in life. I was going to say the hardest part of social media, but that's the hardest part of anything. Anything is fun and exciting when you come up with it and you're going to do it for the first time or whatever, but sticking to things when it gets boring, when it gets hard, when it gets inconvenient, that's why most people can't achieve what they want very easily, because the consistency, it's not fun. It's not glamorous. It's necessary, and that's all that matters, but it ain't, you're not doing cartwheels when you're being consistent with your diet or your exercise or your whatever, right? That's not, it's fun and interesting the first day. But then as time goes, it's just not as, I don't know. It loses that, whatever it is, everyone knows what I'm talking about. What the hell am I talking about? How's everyone doing with this summer psyop? Are you getting all mad and hating your fellow man like they want you to? With the mostly peaceful protests? Be careful with all this stuff that you hear and see and watch and consume. I always tell you guys, I've told you this before, and you need to think about it. What products are free? Almost none. But for whatever reason, the news and pornography are free. Now, I want you to ask yourself why anyone would give you anything for free. Please take all the time you need. Why would someone give you narrative and quote-unquote entertainment, even though porn is not entertainment, it's filth? Why would someone give you those things for free? What do you think? You think they are up to something? Do you think that's possible? I don't know. It's something to think of. I wonder why the news is free. I wonder why it costs billions and billions of dollars to run these giant news corporations, television stations, and then it's just free. And Twitter, it's all just free. I wonder what that's about. I wonder if they're trying to control people's minds and influence the way they live and the choices and actions they take. I wonder if that's what the news is for. So be very careful when you see what you want to see. And the most you should be careful that's sort of a sentence. You should be most careful when you hear exactly what you wanted to hear. When you watch the news and you have an enemy or something you oppose, or it's usually with the anger and the negativity, and there's something you're just so against, and all of a sudden you see a news story that just proves you right. You need to start sniffing the air, because that smells a little funny to me. You know what I mean? When you hear exactly what you want to hear, because your fellow citizens who may disagree with you politically, For some reason, they're hearing the exact thing they want to hear. It's a divide and conquer. I'm not justifying the politics and things I don't agree with. What I'm saying is the average citizen, left wing or right wing, has more in common and shared interest compared to they them elites who seek to drive you mad with horrific news and just destabilizing filth and garbage and despair. They want you to despair. They want you to say, oh, screw it, it's worthless. What's the point anyway? That's how they want you to feel about everything. Because when you do that, you'll just roll over and show the belly. You will show the belly and you will quit and they will get their way. And their way is all about milking you and bleeding you dry like the farm animal they think you are. So be wary. Be wary. Every message you see is intentionally tailored to be what it is to influence you, including my messages. But my messages are made to make your life better. Fire mostly peaceful. I'm just annoyed by the traffic. Yeah, I don't want to go near Los Angeles anytime. I'm down here in beautiful San Diego. Ungoy boy. Manipulation. Absolutely. That's what it is. Let's see. I don't pay attention to it. I can't believe they think Molotov cocktails are peaceful and supply of bricks across ice is nothing suspicious. Yeah, that's it's insanity what's going on. And you just have to, let me stick myself up here so when the comments come in, I don't get smooshed by them. There we are. There we is. Okay, that's better. Yeah, why are there unhealthy food the cheapest? Yeah, because, well, I mean, look at like cattle feed or something, right? You don't want your cows to die. You don't want you're a big rancher. You got thousands and thousands of cattle, right? You don't want them to die. You don't want them to be miserable. But your main concern is your bottom line, your money. So if some things happen to your cows that are not great, but it isn't going to ruin your business and it'll benefit your business, what do you think you're going to do typically? I mean, this is an ugly thing to say out loud, but we know what the truth is. We know they put chickens and cows and things to death if that's what the business needs. They don't do it mean, run them over with a car or something like that. But I've seen a thing where they put like a CO2 foam over a big flock of thousands of chickens, just this big foam. Like the blob horror movie, and the foam just covers them and they suffocate and die inside of the foam. And that's what they need to do for their business for the chickens for whatever reason. Now picture yourself like a cow, like a chicken, like whatever on the elite's farm, working, plowing the field, giving milk, giving eggs. And I say this over and over. If you don't understand that's how elites see us, the normal people, you're not awake. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making it up. It's quite literally how they see us. It's like, well, how do you know that? Well, look at what they do. Look at what they do to the average person and then think about it. So again, that whole thing about the news, there's a reason it's free. There is a reason it's free. And the reason it's free is because it's there to control you. It's there to anger you. It's there to manipulate you, trick you into doing this, that, and the other. I mean, look at the damage that social media does. You guys know I'm not a big social media guy. I like talking with honest, deep, meaningful conversations, and I don't like much else about it. When you guys want to talk about life or art or how much you love this or that, and I can inspire people without being wimpy and Pollyanna, I love that. But let's go look at Instagram and those things. TikTok, I'm not familiar with TikTok. I have a TikTok account. I think I posted 3 times. I need to post every day, apparently. Look at the FOMO, what that crap does to people, right? FOMO gets people to make choices and live in ways that are not natural, like not their own thinking, not their own concept, not their own ideas, but they're like, well, I saw other people doing this and I need to do it. And that's that herd mentality, the group mentality. And people, they see the latest restaurant or the latest vacation, the latest pair of shoes, the latest whatever. And like, well, I need to be doing that because so-and-so presented it as good, as fun, as right, as correct. And that's called thinking past the sale. If I'm a waiter in a fancy restaurant, I want a bigger tip, I got to upsell you, right? And here's an old sales technique. I don't say, hey, do you want dessert? You could say no. And there goes my tip for the dessert, right? Now I only got the tip on the meal. I don't say, do you want dessert? I say, which dessert do you want? I assume the sale. So I put you in a new reality where you're like, well, what dessert do I want? When maybe you didn't want dessert. There's another scam at steakhouses where like, well, if you want the Baked Alaska, that's a fancy dessert of like ice cream with a meringue on top of it. You got to order it now at the beginning of your meal before you even get your food, because it takes 45 minutes to make. Now, that isn't true. What they're doing there is they're getting you to order before you get stuffed and full and no longer want dessert. You see? So you're always being manipulated and sold and all this stuff. You got to be real careful. You got to be awake. Understand that everyone is telling you something to an end. They want an end out of it. They want an effect. They want something out of it. When it comes to this media and all this stuff, I don't mean your mother's trying to manipulate you, but you know what I mean. When you're being sold news, advertising. But let's go back to Instagram. So Instagram will tell you, oh, don't get married, don't have kids, join a polyamorous, group of 5 people in love living at home, and they'll present it in a way that makes it good and attractive and fun, and then people stupidly copy it, and then they're miserable, right? Or they'll say, do this, or drugs, or just sleep with 4,000 people, or just whatever degeneracy, and they push that, to weaken us. The elites push the bad stuff to weaken us. That's what all the weed is for, and the porn. It's to weaken us, to make sure the cattle stay in line and keep making their money. But they'll present it in a way where it's attractive and fun. And that's just like asking, well, which dessert do you want? Not even asking if you want dessert. So they'll just, oh yeah, the degeneracy and the partying and the drinking and the ass clapping, twerking, whatever you see. No. It's like the dessert. Which dessert do you want? They just tell you it's good. And you're like, oh, it's good. I saw it on Instagram. You got to be astute. You got to be awake. This stuff is everywhere, and it's just hidden in plain sight. And it gets all of us. I'm not scolding you. It gets me. It gets you. It doesn't get me much, because I know that I'm always like, where is it? Where is it? I have tuned my brain that way. But I want you guys awake that way, understanding that you're not being told stuff for the hell of it. Oh, latest news, 6 p.m. news. Why? This is free. That the news building, the reporter's salary, the camera, the news helicopter, the news van, satellites, the lawyers, that's a lot of money to make a news channel. How is that free? And you have to understand that they're getting their money's worth when they manipulate people. They manufacture consent for all kinds of bullshit, so. And there's a crazy thing about persuasion, because persuasion is everything, right? That's all communication is persuasion. When I write a story, I sing a song, I act in a movie, a television show, I'm a news presenter. Any sort of art is persuasion to get you to believe X is true, whether it's true or not. And you got to be awake to that stuff, Galaxy Red. Hey, Gabe, I don't normally like YouTube, but I figured I'd hop in to support people. I know when I have time. How's it going? It's going fantastic. I'm having the time of my life, making good quality, fun stories for good quality, fun people, to inspire and uplift them. That's my aim here. Is I remember the things of my youth that were of value, the entertainment I saw that had good values in it, and it was of quality. I want to pay that back. I want to keep that tradition alive. That we have great entertainment that at the end of it all makes your life better. What I want to do? Let's liken it to a restaurant. I want to open a gourmet restaurant, or I have opened a gourmet restaurant. We have the finest food, the finest preparation. It's the most delicious food you can find, and it's healthy. It's all natural ingredients and proper preparation. We're not going to make you fat, ugly, and sick with disgusting fake ingredients. We're going to give you quality ingredients because you're worth it. Because you're worth it, and that's what my morals are. That's what my values are. I will not use my tremendous gift of art to make something to hurt you just to make me some money. That is wrong, with a capital WRONG. So that is what I'm doing. I'm living the dream as an artist. You have fun, you get to be creative, and you get to make a positive difference in the world. Maybe it's a small one. I don't know, but you get to do something with it. Did you like Fred Rogers growing up? Mr. Rogers is fine. I don't think I saw him till I was a little too old to enjoy him. I don't remember seeing him when I was little, and it would have been perfect when I was, 5, 6, 7. I think I saw him when I was like 10 or 11 or whatever, just kind of noticed him, and I think I was a little too old for it. I didn't see too much Mr. Rogers, so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Dean Cain Volume 2. The first one's pretty good. First story for the character. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of great things going on. This Tyrus book, you're going to love the Tyrus book. It's thrilling, action, adventure. It's fun. And I have Empyrean. I should be getting that from the printer on Thursday, my preview copies, so I can double, triple check the print quality. And we'll have that one debuting for crowdfund this summer. It's gonna be awesome. So, I appreciate all of you folks that have helped me make all of these dreams come true. and produce this fantastic work, the best work of my career thus far, and it gets better every day. And the opportunities I have and the things I'm doing, that's to you. That's thanks to you guys. You guys make Big Man Comics work, and that's just awesome. So I couldn't be more thrilled about it. So I don't know. But yeah, the new stuff, be careful. They want you pissed. They want you negative. They want you to give up. They want you to feel despair because, again, if you're farm animals and you're just making them tax money, they don't want you uppity. They don't want you thinking for yourself. They don't want you going, hey, wait a minute, that's not right. You shouldn't do that to me. They don't want that. They don't want any of that. Imagine if you were a farmer and the chicken said, Mr. Farmer, we need to have a talk with you. And then they start complaining about the conditions and the food and the this and that. I have chickens. I have a few chickens. We get nice farm fresh eggs. I don't have a farm, but you know what I mean. I get fresh eggs from my yard and they're delish and they're more healthy. But I am not going to listen to my chickens about suggestions on what to do to my house. Sorry, chickadees. I love you. You're my little chickens, but I'm in charge. I'm the captain now. So, and that's fine for the relationship between animals and humans. I treat them right, but they're not in charge of me. And the elites, they see you as a farm animal. And I'm not saying that for a fact, and I'm not saying that to exaggerate or trick you. Like they quite literally see you as a farm animal. They see you as a means to an end. You have to understand that. So sometimes when I'm drawing these comics, there's so many details and vehicles and people and monsters and mutants and heroes and all this stuff. And it takes a long time to work on. And then I'm like, who the hell wrote this? And it's always me. It's always me that did this to me. Why did past me do this to current me? Because it's awesome. Because when it's done, it's the most satisfying thing. But while I'm working on it, sometimes it's like, man, that's a lot of details. That's a lot of stuff. That's a tricky concept. And it's like, who did this? Who's done this to me? I remember when my wife was giving birth to our first. The old stereotype of the woman getting mad and screaming at her husband while she's pushing that baby. That didn't really happen to me, but it just reminds me of a woman. I don't know if it was a movie or a TV show or what I saw, but she yells at her husband, "You did this to me," and I've always found that quite amusing. I don't know. So is this a panel preview from Tyrus? Yeah, I can show you some of the current Tyrus stuff I've worked on. Now, don't get too excited here. Let's see. Here's some stuff from the Tyrus comic. This is the one I worked on yesterday. Okay. No explanation. This is his orangutan buddy, Steinbeck. His former girlfriend, she's on the mission with him, but they broke up. Cindy. There is a former colleague of his who's now mutated into this monster winged creature. There he is. And they're brawling it out. It's a good time. This is Incredible Hulk meets Ninja Turtles meets Indiana Jones. There's ancient civilizations and prophecies. There's people mutating into insane beast monsters. I call them in my world that I made up. They're mana beasts. They're half man, half beast. There's a whole lore to it of an ancient Atlantean magical thing going on. But it all takes place in the current day, and it's really, really fun stuff. So I'll show you this. I showed some of this online. I mean, look at that. This was from last week. These inks I did here. This is really fun. A lot of these beasts got the libraries or the museum is emptying out, right? And there's a Sasquatch, not to be confused with the Jack Slinks guy. There's a creature living in a lagoon, not a black lagoon though. And an elven archer with an owl. What the hell is going on in this book? A lot of fun is what's going on. So you'll see. You will have to wait to see what the hell's going on in here. Galaxy Red says that's cool. Yeah, it is. It's damn cool. It's a lot of fun. I don't know. This is what I want to do. This is what I was made to do. I was made for this. So we're having fun, and I don't know. You guys want it badly, and so do I. You want just good entertainment that's just fun. That's a big thing too, where it's just entertaining. Don't preach at me. Don't harass me. Don't tell me why the 10 reasons why I'm a racist or whatever. Would you just entertain me, please? It's not that hard. If you have the skills to write and draw, it's not that hard to not insult your audience. So that's the way I look at this stuff. Just having some fun like this. And aren't we all tired of it? Aren't we just all tired of the being harangued by the ingenue, by the young starlets that want to tell us about their pronouns and how racist we are for, I don't know, liking beautiful women or loving your country, or what do they say? Eating red meat and exercising is also. If it feels to me sometimes like the woke people, like if something is good, they hate it. Oh, you're just one of those guys that wants to lift weights and eat red meat and have a family. That's fascism. All right, whatever you say. You're the boss, applesauce. Say if that's. I wonder if an elf would be considered a man beast because they're not actually humans. And I could say, and you said you don't need to say if that's not confirmed. I know I could just say, you know what? I won't say. The lore is the lore, and one thing I've learned as a writer over the years, I've observed people do it, and I've watched myself, and I've thought about it and looked into it. Don't over-explain to your audience. Do not give your audience every statistic and metric and number and this, that, and the other, and the ultra detailed history for two reasons. The first is an emotional, creative one. If I do a good job painting around the edges and I leave some stuff to your imagination, that's way more fun than over explaining it. That's the concept of the mystery box. The golden suitcase in Pulp Fiction? They open the suitcase and they keep seeing the golden glow, but they never tell you what's in it. If I had to bet money, unless he said so in an interview that I'm not aware of, I bet you Quentin Tarantino doesn't even know what's in that suitcase. I've written things like that where it's like this mysterious whatever, and it fits in the world, but you don't say, because the mind, the imagination is perfect emotionally. The imagination cannot be wrong emotionally. It feels so right when you imagine something. You can't imagine in crappily, that's not a word, like a crappy low budget imagination. That's not a thing. So if I leave it up to you guys, some mysterious things, you will imagine it perfectly and it'll feel so satisfying that way. And the mystery is so much fun. Once the mystery is shown, it will always let people down. For years, Marvel didn't say Wolverine's origin. They had like 5 confusing sort of parts of origins. It could be this, it could be that. And then they finally did the origin story like in the year 2000. And it was well written and well drawn and all that. I'm not criticizing the guys that worked on it. But as a concept, there was no way for those guys to win. People may have enjoyed it, but it can't top the mystery. You just can't. It's not possible. So the writer, I think it was Paul Jenkins and Andy Kubert worked on that. They did nothing wrong, but there's no way for anyone to do that. You can't do things like that. It doesn't work. The mystery is superior to the over explanation. So that's just how it is. So in my opinion, they should have never done that. Same with the Savage Dragon. He should have never said his origin either. It's all, the mystery is always better. Right. Because it's an emotional thing. What time is it? Yeah. It's 11:37 already. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop drawing for a minute. I'll leave a drawing up here for you guys to look at. I'm going to stop drawing for a minute, excuse me, and chat with you guys. And I'm going to look at Twitter and see if I can find some news. Hold on. Let me bring up an interesting page to plop up there so people can marvel at the work we're doing. What is an interesting one to look at? Oh, this one. This winged monster guy. Holy cow, that took like 2 hours. I didn't think it was, I thought this was an easy page, but look at all the rendering and the detail to establish the form and the shadow on this. It took me so long the other day, and I thought this was a relatively simple page to do. I thought this would be a page that wouldn't take more than like 4 or 5 hours, and it ended up taking like maybe 6 or 7. So Mad Moxie's in the chat saying hello. But let me go to the Twitterverse and check that. I don't want to hold this iPad and stand here anymore. It's not great. It's not great. But let me go on into Twitter and see what we can find. Is there any pop culture news? What is going on? What is going on? Or does anyone have any questions about art or how this is done or what we're doing? I'll answer those too, just so you know. I'll tell you my plans for Comic-Con. I'm going to have my booth there. I'm going to have some comics and things for sale. It's going to be awesome. T-shirts, comics, a lot of good stuff. We should have Empyrean there. I'm thinking of doing a preview comic for Tyrus. Those will be limited edition, available at Comic-Con this year. It would just be a comic book magazine with some of the pages from the book, maybe a little bit of example of the cover and the colors and some awesome black and white interiors. And see what we can do with those. We can autograph that. And I'm going to have a party. Now, I've usually had the party Wednesday night because my friend owns restaurants and a couple restaurants in San Diego. And he would let me use one right next to the convention center for free, but he would let me do it Wednesday because people who'd use it Thursday, Friday, Saturday during the convention, they pay a lot of money for those nights. So unless I wanted to fork over, it's tens of thousands of dollars, I would do Wednesday night to kick off the Comic-Con. It was Gabe's comic kickoff party. This year, he's going to let me use a restaurant any night of the thing I want. So I think we're going to do Saturday the 26th. We're going to have a party after Comic-Con is over at 7. I think the party would be around 7:30 or 8, right by the convention center, not too many miles away, be easy to get to. And you might have some of your favorite YouTubers, some of those kind of people there that you can meet and greet. It's hang out. It's an awesome pizza restaurant during the day, but it's got a big open spot because it turns into a nightclub at night. There's a lot of drinking and dancing. I don't do any drinking, but yeah, I know people do. They like their beer. They like their mixed drinks. So we're going to be having a party this year there, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a really fun time. The San Diego Comic-Con is such a big deal to me. My year kind of pivots around that. That's like the hub of the year for me as a creative because it is my hometown. It's where I live. It's not far from where I live at all. We get down to the convention center right away. And I always want to make a big impression there. I'm not sure why, but I do kind of anchor the year around that event, so. But will any of you be there? Will any of you be there to meet me in person? Because I would like that. Let's see. I would like to meet some of you to know what's going on here. Hold on. I'm not logged into my Twitter account. What the fudge? Well, that's the end of that. Yeah, I guess I'm not logged in, so I'm not going to look at that. Emily Kruger says, Hail, Emily. How are you doing? But yeah, so if any of you are going to be at Comic-Con, let me know. And we're going to start posting stuff and, getting the word out and all that. So you guys can prepare for it and be ready to head out and have a good time. And, some of you who haven't met maybe can meet in person. That'd be interesting too. I don't know where any of this is going. I tell you guys all the time, I vacillate quite a bit with social media I see the utility, but I also have such disdain for it, because I saw the craziest thing this weekend. On Sunday night, unfortunately, a man in Las Vegas and his wife were YouTube makes you censor. And it's just you feel so stupid and childish censoring yourself. A man and his wife they died in Las Vegas because of another person allegedly took them out. And it was over like YouTube beef and her ongoing conflict and doxing and harassing each other allegedly. I don't know the details per se. I saw some stuff on Twitter. I saw a short YouTube video about it, but it's so sobering. It was just like, geez, people, like, okay, 2 people gone. And if the alleged attacker is in fact the person that did it, you always have to say alleged because everyone's innocent until proven guilty. That's just multiple lives ruined. I've heard people have children, and that's terrible too, right? Because now, if the parents are deceased or the other one's going to jail for life or whatever, I mean, what happens to the kids? It's really, I don't know. It's really, it's a weird thing. Like, oh, the world is worse than ever. I don't believe that because how would I know? How would any of us know? Because I didn't live in the other times. You know what I mean? Now, when you go and read old writing, they say all the things we say. I remember learning about some Greek history because I'm just a history guy and I read history books and listen to history podcasts sometimes. And I love Roman history and Greek history. Who doesn't? And I remember them talking about Julius Caesar when he was a teenager. He used to roll with his teenage buddies and they were all kind of nobility kind of guys. And the adults would say they're disrespectful and they dress funny. Like nowadays, like sagging your clothes or dressing like a hoochie mom or whatever. That would annoy some adults. You can go read the Greeks saying the same things about Julius Caesar. Like, oh, kids are so disrespectful these days that we live in. And this is written, over 2,000 years ago. And they're like, yeah, they don't stand when an adult comes in the room. And I was reading it just kind of like, not laughing to myself, but it's like, nothing changes, So when we think, oh, it's worse than ever, is it? See, and that's an unknowable thing. There's a veil there that we can't see through. How would we know? Because in order to really know, I can't just take the historical word for it of what I read. I would have to live in that time. And my intuition tells me that it's no different now than it ever was. But something does feel different than my childhood. But then you think, well, is it me? Or is it because I'm an adult and I have a different perspective on life? I have now 46 years of experience, almost 47, or as compared to 6 years. When I'm thinking about it as a kid, is the world different now than when I was little? I don't know, but it does feel different for sure. I know it feels different. I know that's a fact that it feels different, but feelings are not reality. Is it different? Because how it feels to me is I feel like there's a lot of misery in the world and pain and like hopelessness, and not for me. I'm very happy, grateful, and hopeful, but I feel like so many people, they have nothing. They feel like they have nothing to live for. And I'm unsure if that's an illusion in my mind just because of my age and my perspective changes, or if that's a real thing. I can't tell. And I don't know how you would be able to tell. I mean, you could look at psychological research and this and that, but who knows, right? Ultimately, who knows? Because human beings are just human beings. Why would it be different? Aren't we just the same people, just reacting to different technology and this and that? But ultimately, we're the same people we were from the start. Our minds don't change. If you took someone from the ancient world 3,000, 10,000 years ago, and you dropped them here, they'd be up to speed. They'd be up to speed in a few months. Totally. They'd be just like one of us. I mean, you've seen them hand chimpanzees a cell phone on TV, right? And you see them, they start fidgeting, pushing buttons. Eventually, they figure out they can flick things to make the images come and go. And you ever seen a baby with a cell phone? That's frightening, right? So I don't think people from thousands of years ago would be any different than us. So I don't think the problems and the concepts culturally are any different. I just don't see how they could be. But it does feel, compared to my childhood, like there's just despair. I spoke about this yesterday, and I feel like so many people, they don't have anything they feel like they're living for. I've run into many people saying, well, what is the point of life? But then I look at their life and they're not married, they don't have kids, they don't have any religion in their life, and all they have is one endless pleasure seek after the next, right? I'm going to this restaurant and I'm going to this movie and I'm going to watch this streaming show. I'm going to smoke this weed. And it's just, I'm going to go to Disneyland. I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go. And it just does seem like endless running, just running. And that, I think it's making people nuts. I think it's making them miserable and depressed. I don't know. But was that going on when I was a child? And I just couldn't see it because I was in a child's world playing with Legos and Star Wars. That's the thing to me. That's the mystery. My suspicion is that it's always been this way. I don't know. That's my suspicion. Because why would it be different when I'm alive? Because to say, oh, it's different now because me, that's very ethnocentric, right? That's very much thinking I'm the center of the universe, the center of the main story. And that doesn't make any sense. That's just delusional thinking. So regardless of if it's better or worse or whatever, how do we fix it, right? That's the main issue. This is the stuff I think about when I lay in bed at night. One thing that's curious to me that I didn't even feel change. Oh, hold on, let me read this here. Boy, I wish I couldn't get tickets to Why do you wish you couldn't get tickets to Comic-Con? I know what you meant. I'm just giving you a hard time. Boy says, I feel like social media makes you more aware of what's going on. Yes, but what's the signal to noise, right? You know what I mean? It's like how much of it is real and how much of it is being manipulated or exaggerated or just straight out lie. Because your friends, right? Your friends. You see them in real life and do things with them. And then you see their social media posts on Instagram or whatever. Is that really them? No. To a degree it is, but, in some ways it really isn't. And we know that it's a funhouse mirror. It's fake. It isn't real. So I think a lot of what we're seeing, again, it's curated, it's manipulated, and that's intentional. The elites that think all of us are their cattle, their workhorses, they need us to think and feel in certain things, so we do certain things. They convince us that the things that we need to do magically are the things that benefit them are the things we need to do. That's what they're always trying to convince us. Oh, we need to go to war. We need to pass this spending bill. We need to. And they use all this money and persuasion and all this stuff and the news media and all this stuff. And then magically it makes them rich. Like you gotta You got to recognize that pattern eventually, you know? You got to recognize that pattern. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't know anything about politics. And I think I've told this story before, but I find it fascinating, so I need to tell it again. When I was a kiddo, Bill Clinton had won the presidency. I was in high school. And what's this here? Bill Clinton had won the presidency. And then 2 years later, they have the midterm elections to vote for the Congress and the Senate and all that, right? And for the first time in 40 years, the Republicans won the Congress. Okay. And it was a big deal. The Republicans had never ruled the Congress for like 40 years. This was the 90s. And Newt Gingrich was the Speaker of the House. He was the head of the Republicans. He was the big Republican. And his name is Newt. I believe his name is Newton. And last name is Gingrich. So there was a cartoon drawing on Newsweek magazine, How the Gingrich Stole Christmas. I'm going to look for this. How the Gingrich Stole Christmas. Newsweek cover. It was a Newsweek magazine cover. I was in my school library. Here it is. I was in my school library and I saw this. Open image in new tab. I saw this on the rack in the school library and I was like, what in the world is this? Let me present this. Present, share screen, entire screen. Here's the screen. I saw this in the library, right? At the school. I was like, what? How the Gingrich Stole Christmas. Fascinating, right? I'm an illustrator. I've been drawing my whole life. That's a crazy drawing. Who is Gingrich? What did he steal? What's going on? I didn't pay attention to politics when I was a kid. And so I open this magazine and I read it. I should buy this. I should go on eBay and buy this because this changed my life. Now, I'm 14 years old when I picked this up. I'm talking about manipulation and elites and all that. That's what we're still talking about. I picked this magazine up and I flip it open. And I don't remember the particulars, but I remember the overall view I got after reading it out of just pure fascination was this Gingrich guy disagrees with everything Hillary and Bill Clinton say. And the pattern recognition in my brain said, that's not possible. If you grab two random people off the street, no matter their race, religion, orientation, politics, they would agree on something. They would agree on some things. They would. It's necessarily true. And I was like, and I'm 14, and it just hit me in the head like, it's an act. There's no way they disagree on everything. Not possible. Possible, yes, not probable. Like not even close to being probable. Okay? So that tells me, oh, that's intentional. I say white, you say black. I say up, you say down. I say left, you say right. That's an act. And it's a divide and conquer. I'm 14 when I'm figuring this out. I remember being at church and we were sitting on the lawn out front, me and my friend Brian. And for whatever reason, I said, I read this magazine today. And like, do you know anything about Bill Clinton and these other people and this guy that hates him, this Gingrich cat or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and I remember the quote I said to my friend, I said, dude, they're all the same guys. And what I mean by that is like they all go to the same country club. They all go to the same whatever. Their kids marry, all this and that. Then they come on the news and say abortion, no abortion. And then we people fight immigration, deportation. And then we fight and then they fucking laugh at us and take all our money. But I remember being 14 and figuring that out because it didn't make any sense to me how they could disagree about everything. I'm like, that's not possible. And here's a heuristic I want you to use for the rest of your life. I use it every day. The universe is a universe of order. Think of every atom, every proton, every electron, neutrino, quark, up quark, down quark, everything in the universe, time, light, heat, fire, hydrogen, everything in the universe. It's an amazing amount of information, all these particles and subatomic particles. They always do exactly what they're supposed to do. Think about that. That's an amazing amount of order. It's the universe is pure order. There is no chaos. It's even if you throw a handful of sand in the air, every last particle has to go exactly where it has to go because of wind, because of gravity, because of bumping into other ones, because of magnetics, whatever. Each one, you could do a math equation to say we're going. Now, it'd be the most complicated math ever. You could never really figure it out. But the universe is a complete universe of order. Okay, stay with me here. This is how I figured out the politics thing, and I figure out everything this way. The universe is complete order at all times, everything. There's no randomness. There's no chaos. It only looks like randomness to us because it's too complex. But everything, you could do the math and say exactly why that particle is there, where it is, temperature, whatever. Because the universe is complete order at all times, everything makes sense. Everything always makes sense. And you say to yourself, that's not true. I see plenty of things. I'm like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Aha! There's your key, Sherlock. This is the heuristic. Now, I said all that to say this. This is the thing I want you to remember forever. This is such a useful concept that I came up with. When something doesn't make sense, it's me. There's more information I need. If I look at something and it doesn't make any sense, oh, it does make sense. I just can't see all of it. So when I look at Newt Gingrich and I look at Bill Clinton, it's like they disagree about everything, like mirror images. That doesn't make sense. Yes, it does make sense. There's something else you don't know. And that's the thing to look for in life. And when you can find those things, you can unlock so much in life. But just know the universe has complete order at all times, and everything makes sense. It's just you when it doesn't make sense and you need more information. Now, what a lot of people do that's a mistake, and you see this in politics, people are very stubborn. They'll see the thing doesn't make any sense, and then they'll make up a fake answer to make themselves still be correct. Instead of going, oh, I'm wrong, there must be more, I must need more information. Do you see the difference? So I want you guys to remember that. The universe is complete order at all times, and when something doesn't make sense, it's you. Guys, it is 5 till noon. I'm going to get out of here. It's Tuesday. And there's an awesome deli here, and they have homemade chili on Tuesdays. It's Chili Tuesdays is what I tell my wife. I might go get some chili beans for lunch. I don't know. I could be a wild man. Anything could happen. But I want to thank you for being here. Hit the like, hit the share, guys. Go to bigmancomics.com, get Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, and make sure you follow me on all socials. On X, I'm Big Man Comics. Everywhere else, I'm Gabe LT, except on TikTok. Come on, Gabe, you're old, but you're not that old. On TikTok, I'm Big Man Comics 1, and I'll be back here tomorrow, 11 to noon Pacific, Monday through Friday for Big Man Comics Live. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.